Mhm, mhm. Hello, hello, hello. Good evening, everyone out there. I'm actually doing this live. I really like this function. I've been just doing it like live, but keeping it private or unlisted, and then just hitting upload. And I really like this function a lot. So this is the first time I've done this that way. So I'm gonna try to minimize the moving around here, in my little recording studio, aka my walk-in closet. It's kind of cool and cozy. It's weird, like, I get dressed in here in the morning and all that stuff, and now I'm in here, like, in my little recording hidey hole. It's fun. So, anywho, let's see. I don't have the share function on yet, so let's get that going. Uh-huh. So originally this was just going to be a response to awareness with Chris, but I figured since it's already 10 o'clock my time, and maybe yours perhaps. Well, I was watching Alt Right tonight on, let me just shout out Luke Ford. I love this channel. I've been like really enjoying his live talks and everything. He's got like the whole Jew squad on tonight. David, um, Babylonian Hebrew. I mean, just a really great channel. His streams are awesome. I don't know. I just like his vibe, and there's a whole lot of things I can say, but that's one thing I've been meaning to get around to. Just make some videos just on channels that I like, blogs that I read, and what have you. So, anywho, let me just close that because we're not watching that. Okay, so here's the comment stream. That's the part two. So I was just going to do a response to Chris, which I'm going to do first. And then I was like, well, do I really want to do a whole separate video? Tonight is getting a little bit on the later side. I want to get up and yoga before work. So then part two of this stream tonight, I'm going to cover this video. 7 minutes long. I'll start like the 3 minute part because there's some really key stuff here. And it feeds into a lot of things I've been saying in my videos repeatedly. It's just really juicy. And I'd forgotten about it until it came up on like a search and I was at work today and I was like, oh yeah, I totally forgot to do a video on this. So I got a a response from Awareness with Chris, who I did a few video responses on. Wait, am I in the right share function? Yeah, okay. The hate about this, like I wish there was a way for me to like see. Yeah, anyway. Um, let's see, let's just go to Video Manager. Do 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 do. Cause I can't remember. So it was a late work day today. So I got home, poured myself a delicious glass of wine, which I'm enjoying right now. And okay, wow. Actually, I have I don't have that many videos so far. Let's put that on silent. Okay, so I guess I must have done. Dang it! This is the video that was super good and it got blocked. I can listen to it. Maybe one day I'll just play it in the audio and you guys can listen. That video is so good. Oh, so funny. Sorry, trip down memory lane. Okay, okay. All right. So here's the part awareness of Christ, the evolution of the black man, part one. About 20 minutes there, then a part two, another 20 minutes. This one wasn't directly related to that video, but I think it was later on that weekend. I had a trip and I ended up branching off onto ripping on some other points from those two videos. So I'm not going to play these. They're in my like channel. You can see them. So what happened was someone commented. No, it wasn't that one. So, okay. So this was just a video that I made a response to recent comments. So this was a comment. Someone left a comment on the awareness of Chris, the evolution of the black man, part one. Oh yeah, feel these nuts. Oh yeah, that guy. And so I was getting up, getting my day started, and I saw that Chris had responded. So, and you'll see here if you go to the link, which is in this description box, and if you go elsewhere, you'll find it there, and I'll just kind of move through it here. So, um, I was kind of go back and forth about reading the full comment. I mean, it's like I know you can probably just go ahead and do that yourself, but then I kind of feel like it adds a little well-roundedness to things. But anywho, so I'll just read it and I'll stop, and then I'll kind of come back and triangulate. So I just found I'll just start. I just found and watched your last few videos by typing in response to awareness with Chris randomly to see if anyone had made a response to my channel. I see some valid points you made. I do and have gotten better at getting more detail with my history. I guess you're asking for less general statements, although I find it very peculiar that you do the exact same thing I do. Uh-huh. Okay, so I'll just pause there. Well, as you'll see later on in my response, actually the most recent one I just probably made about maybe 15 or 20 minutes ago to Chris, um, that's not really well. I mean, I make general observation videos, but that wasn't what I was critiquing in the video. And for you to find that peculiar is a little bit odd. My main point of contention with how you were outlining history was it wasn't just that it was general. It just there was just nothing there beyond it. Like for instance, okay, we'll just take how it started. Black experience in America. So we think about the slave trade, X amount of Africans ending up in the islands, and then here on the American shores. Then we have the institution of slavery, which kind of starts to gaining steam around the late 1600s, moving, that was mostly more the indentured servitude types that came over. Like think about Phyllis Wheatley, she was indentured servant when she came over. Then we kind of moved through those first 200 years. Then we get to the Civil War. Civil War is fought. Then the Reconstruction era kicks in. We move into the 21st century. We have this kind of, and that's one thing. There's a big period of history nobody really ever talks about there relating to blacks. We talk about it, but it's kind of skipped over. Then there's this kind of era of about maybe 50, 70 years. Then we get to the civil rights movement kind of starting out, picking up steam in the 50s, culminating in the 1960s Great Society, a lot of the Civil Rights Act, and a lot of those sort of things that happened. And then this is actually, I'm recalling now the video, and this is where I kind of like, this is the main thing that I start to ding you on immediately, because I hear this from black men. I hear this from black people in general. So I'm really, in this, when I say this, I'm not just leveling this at black men. I hear this, well, the 1960s, then all of a sudden at midnight in 1965 or whatever, everything stops. And then it's black single moms, out of wedlock children, WIC welfare, black fathers kicked out the home, by whom, which is never really discussed and never really given. And then it's just this kind of like boilerplate talking points that mostly black men, but a lot of black people in general, even white people parrot this shit too. And we just end up in this kind of like random hub of aspersions. And then it's 2018, April 11, 2018. So that was what my point of contention was. It wasn't necessarily making less general statements. You can make general statements about things, but from the way you outlined that in your original video that was critiquing, and then it moved further on, you just have this it's a very bland setup of history that always leads to this 1960s, and then everything falls off the cliff, fathers kicked out the home, WIC welfare, blah, 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 blah. So it's not the generality that was necessarily the problem. It's the sort of assumptions that you end up arriving at, like a lot of black men and black people come to when we hit 1960 or 1965 or whatever. Like there's this clock strikes midnight, and then everything else is just this wheel rolling down a hill. So so then here we go. You ramble a lot. You'll see my response below. This is the last time I want to address this. Well, actually, this will probably help because later in the comment, I give an example of someone for Chris to look up. So I vlog around that affects my thoughts. There's no script as well. So, okay. So let me just play the clip. This is Camille Paglia, and I adore her. I didn't really know much about her work until maybe more recent years. And she's kind of called herself like a feminist, anti-feminist. She's been pretty much a lifelong lesbian, transgender, kind of identifies as transgender. She's just full of thoughts. And I mean, I couldn't find, I was trying to find one that was just nice and quick to use as an example here. Let me just play this. It's only a minute and 30 seconds. And then I can just kind of expand upon why I referenced her and why I referenced her in my response to Chris below.
absolutely the symbol of a certain kind of neuroticism, which masquerades as feminism. I mean, Lena Dunham has a lot of problems that have to do with body image that have nothing whatever to do with the wider society, but have to do with the chaos of her own family life and her own family background. So her feminism is to me a perfect example of the kind of externalization of, she's like looking for social causes for there's a kind of this huge fluidity in her inner life that is due to the way she was raised in that it was like in the art scene in New York. She was raised with privilege. The way she presents herself physically, to me, it's like, look, I am just presenting myself exactly as I am. I call her the Indra Dworkin of today. This exposure of the body as something ugly and as something as repugnant, and yet somehow as sexual, and the implied blame that if you find me ugly, then you don't understand that I am woman as she is, okay, and you are a sexist. Okay, I'm sorry, no, you are just a big pile of pudding, as far as I'm concerned, a big pile of, she's like just a classic neurotic of the old style, and witless and not nearly as intelligent as she seems to think she is. I don't think she has any insight whatever into contemporary politics. The things she says, she finds sexism everywhere, okay, and it's like a monomania, with that type of feminist.
Okay, that was really brief. Let me see. I could just maybe jump quickly into one. I was looking for like the perfect Camille. Let's get started pretty early. We'll just jump in.
Me about it, okay? That is, they see a world that is nothing but sexual violence and abortion. These are the two things. Now, I am absolutely 100% for abortion rights, free and unrestricted access to it. Okay, I used to belong to Planned Parenthood until I realized it was just an arm of the Democratic Party, my own party, so on. It's a hysterical, pathological projection that reality is nothing but sexual violence, okay, and abortion, okay. And look at the incredible abundance of material in the history of culture, okay, in literature and art and everything else. There's a complete absence of sexual psychology now because Freud was thrown out the window. Okay, so they can't understand anything. My theory in sexual personae, and I still maintain.
Okay, I think that was enough. I'm glad I did that. So I referenced Camille Paglia. It's kind of and I'll say this in the comment below. I don't fancy myself. I'm definitely not as well lettered or scholarly or educated as Camille is. But one of the that's one of the things that I will say is that that's kind of in a way I imagine the way my own kind of inner thought process works. So in the Lena Dunham clip, she stays pretty much on that point about Lena, feminism, and kind of critiquing her. She kind of branches off into a few other sub points. She kind of, always kind of hones in back around her original thought, but she lets herself, like you saw in the second clip, kind of, move through certain thoughts and through certain things relatively quickly. And that's kind of how I think and how I roll. So actually, this will also be helpful. We'll find the Merriam-Webster definition because I tried to use a Google search one. I like Merriam-Webster. Makes me feel all special and stuff. To move aimlessly from place to place, to explore idly, to walk or write in desultory or long-winded wandering fashion, to grow or extend irregularly. I wasn't familiar with that third definition of the word. It's intransitive verb. Okay. Yeah. So as we see here in the definition, I guess the number 2 subset will probably be what the critique is. Okay, that's perfectly fine, but again, like that's already been established on this channel that I'm usually just picking a thought or a subject or a video of someone wants to comment or critique, and I move through points, I break off into other points, and I kind of wander a bit. I stumble into one idea that I kind of want to expand on, and then I go, oh yeah, I always had an example of this or that or the third. It's just it is what I do. I know I don't even think that's the correct sentence, but that's just kind of what I do. And if that's your problem, maybe you just should watch my videos. And this is Chris is the first person to make this comment. Someone else made the same comment too. And it's just basically, okay, but it's funny enough, I mean, this isn't a big channel yet. I'm not Sargon tier yet, or anything like that. But it's funny, and I think I mentioned it below. Now, or I didn't mention as part of Chris, but I was thinking, it's funny. I've had a few comments that have been, at least from people who are Black women avatars. I'm 90% assume they are Black women who listened to my videos and left comments and said, "Oh, those are some great points," and then they've even expounded themselves upon something that I said. And then, the that Phil These Nuts, whatever guy that responded to this original video, he he was perfectly fine with sitting there. He maybe listened to the rambling or not, and then gave me his whole like WIC welfare, Black men died in World War I excuse, and still managed to leave a comment here and find something to say. So I'm really kind of just a little bit. It's more now of a suspect comment of Black men who just get in their feels for some kind of way, and they just want to deflect on what I'm saying. So I do address that in my reply, so I'll just maybe circle back around to that later. So I vlog on the road, and that affects my thoughts. That's perfectly fine. I vlog pretty much sitting here in my chair, and my thoughts are affected by the subject I want to talk about. Maybe the video that I'm doing, I actually have similar, like an ulterior motive. There's something else I want to do later, so I want to make sure some of the thoughts that I address in this video then translate into something that I address down the road. And there's no script. Yep, true. I don't have a script either. I mean, no, I make notes. And again, I know I've said this previously, and I will may end up saying it again. But I'm gonna try not to. I like the videos. There's a lot of channels that do this, but I think the alternative hypothesis. I really love the videos on this channel. They're really well made, and the distributist, another great channel. Like you could tell he writes everything out. Great visuals. It's a very well organized, put together, produced video. And A, I don't have the time for that now. B, I would probably need to have someone help me with those things. And, so a lot of times I'm just getting on here to just share my thoughts and opinions and pick subjects that interest me. I think from the very first video or couple of videos or so I've made, I've always stated that this is just kind of a scratching the surface, hang out, chit chat, rap with you about some things, and that the goal is to make a channel that's more stylized, that's more not me just kind of making a few notes and sitting here and kind of riffing, on my like guitar with you guys and going over some points. So, anyway, all right, so let's just move on. Everything that you say, you have no solution. Now I'm gonna full stop right there. It's so funny. Kendall St. Charles did a video again after Black men kept coming to her platform. Whoa, sister, what's the solution? What's the solution? And we gotta stick together, Black people, blah blah blah. And she made a great video once saying, "Okay, Black men, where you want us to submit, you want us to do this, you want to be in the home, just all the things they say that they want. Give us a plan, give us the specs of what you're going to do. If we do this, then what are you going to do?" And nobody ever showed up. And this whole idea of having a solution, it's so funny when you go over to like the more trad alt-right, and there's always these constant things. Women shouldn't be in politics, or women shouldn't be making alt-right videos, and they should be making sandwiches and be barefoot and pregnant. My white babies, my white ethno state. Now I'm saying that a little tongue in cheek, but I'm not ragging on them particularly for those statements. But it's so funny that within this race, the Black man is constantly asking Black women for a solution. And there is no solution. I'll just jump to it real quick right now, because this will kind of explain that. What did I just say a few minutes ago? That was like more than 6 minutes ago. Okay. I am not fighting anyone. You are mistaken, implying that I care about the Black community, in air quotes, as you call it. And I've said this now in a few recent videos. Maybe I can just do a video on this stuff. This is a post-mortem kind of channel about the Black race and Black community. I was going to say in that comment reply, I call it a Blackistani open air prison, open air insane asylum. That's what the Black race is here. That's a lot of what you get across the diaspora, all the way back to the motherland of sub-Saharan Africa. There is no solution. And I think originally, maybe in the critiquing of your original video, that was kind of part of why I think I honed in on and used that as an example. Just one of many, because you're not one person that's saying this. I see this with Black men, and I see this with Black women too, across the map. As he's saying, I was just listening to Yvette Carnell when I was getting ready for the video. So I thought, right video on. Then I stepped outside for a second, And then I had her on, and it's the same type of way. And it's whether in the black left or black right, it's all these same discussions about what we gonna do, black people, and is it stocks? They were talking about, somebody would say we need to like get better credit, and then people were in the comments bemoaning the fact, oh, well, Obama was here, we didn't like, every other group has their interests, we didn't ask Obama to do this or that, and it's like there is no solution because black people are still having the most basic bitch mediocre conversation 2018 about how to fix things, and the world has moved on. So I'm just going to break here and break that into two subsets to that's just that comment. One, and I like this. I think Kendall probably said it in a video, and it really resonated. And then there's some real life things I can tie this to. The black race has basically served, especially in America, particularly and across diaspora, has served its purpose. Now, another little history tidbit. So when we look at the end, by the end of slavery, coming well towards the middle end, moving out of it, we hit the Industrial Revolution. Which was slowly for the past 100, almost 100+ years, making a lot of the physical labor and even some of the domestic labor that black people served slowly more and more obsolete. And it actually happened a lot sooner than that. It didn't take a full 100 years, particularly by the time you get to the 60s and a lot of the social changes and what have you. You see, black people not doing a lot of those domestic jobs. You see the manufacturing jobs move over and away. Excuse me. Excuse me. Basically, let me just full stop there. There's no solution to this because the window to solving any problems has closed. There's thousands of reasons, and I want to keep this response on schedule because I want to get to the other thing I want to comment on tonight. So solutions, there's no solution to fixing anything. There's no solution to fix black people, black races. All this, it's the funniest thing I see with a lot of white identity. And when I look at the alt-right, look white nationalism, a lot of discussion to happen there. The problem I think is that white people see themselves as such individuals, which has been the part of the blessing of Western civilization and the metrics that move it along over the past 2,000 years. But whites are finding themselves needing a lot more of a collectivism, and or even the desire for it you see in scenes like the alt-right and a lot of white nationalism, where they want this kind of racial cohesiveness amongst their own people, but they don't have it, and a lot of white people more often not resist that type of racial collectivism that pretty much almost every other non-white group does, and even you account for like gender or sex, gay, straight, lesbian, either way, those groups tend to like huddle together based on those characteristics. But with black people, there's this solution, this idea of a solution, because like even when in the video originally for Chris, what I was kind of ripping on is like the whole, well, we just need to invest in black people and buying, and I missed it in the original video, but he said it someplace, weave and Air Jordans. And I just roll my eyes. It's funny because in a way, yeah, it's true, but like again, what is it? I'm gonna break off because I just don't understand what people think this solution. There's no solution. There's none whatsoever. You as an individual black person, get up every morning, do the Jordan Peterson, make your bed every day, put put your pants on one leg at a time. And I think I did mention that Human Action, the famous kind of economic treatise by Ludwig von Mises, very big in the libertarian circles. I think the book was written like the early 1900s. He's one of the original kind of OG Austrian economists. So all those actions of individual black people making their own individual solutions will collectively reverberate outwards. Like white people don't wake up every day and collectively look around for the white people to like do something to make the electrical grid work, or to make sure that like the shelves are stocked at Walmart, or insert any other activity that they a white person engages in their day-to-day life that contributes to the functioning of society. It's only black people that keep asking themselves that. And it's like the race of people who have less time than anyone to be asking these questions are the ones that keep asking it the most. So your views are just as negative with no solutions at all other than we should talk to each other. I don't remember. Did I say we should? Where did I say that? I don't know if by we you're implying black people. I didn't particularly say that. I don't particularly have that much interest unless I know you're a black woman that can actually stomach, and you're not a mammy mule, you're not a pick me, you're not some Black Lives Matter freak, you're not you're not on the other end some weirdo normie conservative black Republican type that's just stuck on all that basic bitch assness. No, I don't want to talk to them particularly either. So no, it's not that we should just talk to each other, but yeah, maybe you should dedicate your channel to offering solutions instead of responding to other YouTubers and viewers because that is the majority of what I see in your channel. Are you my dad? Like, it's I'm a no here. I'll sister girl roll my neck for a second. Excuse me, who is you talking to? Oh, that's like so 1990s, like early mid 90s with those cross colors. Yeah, excuse me. Why don't you like, why don't you just like uh, I'll just not say that. That's not any of your fucking business. This is my fucking YouTube channel, and I'll make videos about whatever the fuck I want to make videos about. And if anybody, like, I should start searching myself for response videos. Maybe somebody said something about me, about what I've said. So, so again, that's none of your fucking business. And I'll make videos about where the fuck I want to make videos about. But again, especially as it relates to Black people, again, these solutions and problem solving and negativity, it's like, in a way, when he says that, it's like, well, it's the way, I had this thought. Sometimes Black people, oh, like that Yvette Carnell that I just did, and then all the Black women content. It's funny. Black men usually oscillate between this anger and resentment and all this like, well, But the Black women callers, they were all. The first one was really bitchy, but the last one, she's like this typical like, why is it some Black women and Black people, they act like these peace loving hippie beatniks. Like we just all need to love each other, man. We're all the Black race, and we need solutions. We should just love each other, man. It's so weird and obnoxious. It's funny, especially, growing up. Anyway, Black people talk, white folks, they always being so chipper and happy and dipper. Black white folks, with Black folks, we be serious. We ain't all laughing and doing all that shit. Like sometimes Black people talk about white people, but it's funny. It's so weird to just see that kind of parallel existence of being like, we should just love each other. We just need solutions, man. It's like Ned Flanders level, hippie level bullshit. While the South Side of Chicago, the West Side of Chicago, your Baltimores, your Indianapolises, your Comptons, insert whatever majority minority chocolate city with some kind of body count that's off the charts. That this negativity, let's get rid of the negativity, man, and bring in the good vibes and love each other. I love how that's like that's supposed to be some valid response when I can go pick up any newspaper, um and go look at the crime section in certain cities and see people who look like me racially, share my race, engaging in all kinds of levels of just killing themselves, killing each other, killing people. But the solution is just, let's be less negative, man, and just love each other, man. Pass the doobie around. Like I didn't really. I'm glad he said that in the comment because I was thinking about that a week ago, and that drew that memory out. So anyway, that was good. All right, so let's keep it moving. But yeah, maybe I should dedicate my channel. No, like that's just, you'll see my response below. I'll say that for my response below. My channel offers problems and solutions to issues in the Black community, and not only for Blacks but whites as well, as pertains to white guilt and privilege. I didn't spend as much time. Well, I don't. I did once I saw the first few comments from that. Basically, the white comments on his channel came off like, it's so funny. They're like, especially now being like more alt dissident right for the past few years. It's so funny reading like those kind of standard normie tier white conservative comments like, oh my God, it's so good a Black person saying these things. Like, man, we need more Blacks like you. Like, spouting the same basic bitch normie conservative talking points. The same ones. They had to be dragged kicking and screaming to probably vote for Trump, and they love Israel and they love Jesus, and it's like, no, like I love this. So, channel offers some problems and solutions to issues in the Black community, not only for Blacks but whites as well, as terms of white guilt and privilege. So this is definitely gonna be a ramble because I'm trying to recall, because I was thinking about this response today when I was driving, when I was going to run an errand before I came home. Now is one when I'm thinking of the problem, and this is actually kind of pertains to my last two videos about the alt-right Hotep folly. Oh, and what I'm noticing, see, awareness of Chris, he's not. I don't think he never said he's a Hotep. I'm pretty sure he's not a Hotep, like the way those guys kind of align themselves. But the kind of broad umbrella, like there's a maybe what, I might have to just pull this up. No, because they're not on YouTube, and it will take me a second to find it. Murdoch is this probably like the best kind of alt right like art right now. There's not enough art. Let me pause and take a sip of water. Still getting over that cold and my throat dries up a lot now when I'm talking. Um, it's okay to be a black person and be sick of all the Black Lives Matters, all the microaggressions. I think enough black people collectively are starting to just get a little sick of, all the weird, like, black whining and crying. Even black people who probably gonna still vote Democrat, they still think white people are evil, or like they're not like, what's that, Dave Chappelle character. They're not that, or Uncle Ruckus or anything, but they just are collectively getting a little sick of all the silliness that black people are engaging in the public sphere, particularly when it comes to, like, like, what was the one that some lady started the website saying white people could pay black people stuff as reparations, all this like goofiness. But from Awareness with Chris to the Hoteppers, and even to just some of the general, like with Murdoch kind of called out based blacks and Trump hats. Now, not to say Chris, because I don't know how I think he said he voted for Trump in one of his videos. I don't remember. I voted for Trump. Um, it's these, and then you see some black women too, like Diamond and Silk are kind of like indicative of this on the black woman side. So I'm seeing this all around. It's like, but with the black men particularly, this is very interesting to me. It's like it's okay to say this white guilt, white privilege thing has gotten out of hand and it's silly. I think anybody with like two brain cells to rub together now knows that. And only people who really care are people who are benefiting and profiting from it, whether they get to come teach an adjunct course or write a Tana Dendu Coates, level drivel book about, how they felt because they are black and they're a black man and somebody clutched their purse near them and they're still talking about it 40 years later. But I just don't. But that's kind of at the heart of what I think the problem with the whole alt-right Hotep thing that was happening for a few minutes is it's okay for these black men, particularly, and some black women who are showing up to seem to agree with these things. But beyond that, that's all that they're acknowledging. And then you get these normie conservative types who just like, start, convulsing, and they get the Chris Matthews tingle up their leg just because some black man says something that's like halfway reasonable. Because, and I see this on the alt-right all the time too, like, because some black man isn't going ooga booga booga with his pants hanging around his ass and he doesn't have a gun in his hand, or alternately it's a black woman with like 8 babies on her hip living in a shoe, not smacking gum. If you just aren't that, then anything you say that even just is slightly reasonable makes you like Gandhi or, some kind of superhero. And so I get, what that's going, where that's going, but anyway, I think I kind of beat that point into the ground. So I'll walk away from that one. So let me just reread that again. People say that what they don't say don't mean you absolutely have to respond when you respond to your viewers. My channel offers problem solutions to issues in the black community, not only for blacks but whites as well as pertains to white people. People say what they say. People will say what they say doesn't mean you absolutely have to respond when you respond to your viewers. I don't get that. Another thing you got wrong is the typical Chris is blaming others for black men's faults when my channel dedicated to fighting black victimhood. Example, we did not import drugs to our communities. Whites did, and we sold them. Where did all the black men go? Prison. Clinton equals super predator phrase came from. Have you heard Tuskegee experiment? Look it up! Exclamation point. Dude, really? Really, dude? Really? Really? I, I have never heard Tuskegee's experiment. Never. I mean, whoa, man. Whoa. My mind's like blown, dude. Like, whoa. I'm having vertigo over here. Okay. No, but the funny thing is, even if you individually, Chris, aren't doing that, like, I'm not casting an aspersion on you, saying that you eternally, this is your eternal knowledge, you honestly, well, see, that's a problem, because this is a problem now with you and other black men, where to a certain point, so some black men out here saying these things is malicious and it's just a lie, and they flagrantly know they're lying. Then there's a part of people where I honestly just don't think. I think so. It's like you just repeat something, and I hate to even use this as a reference, but the thing they try to attribute to Hitler. You tell a lie big enough, long enough, eventually everyone will believe it. Because like I said, I'm joking to myself. I think I'm gonna change the name of the channel to Weave, Wick, and Welfare. It'll get a lot more clicks and it'll be real catchy and fun and snazzy, but now that that's been repeated ad nauseum without any contextualization or nuance, and then this constant 1960s fathers kicked out the home, the jobs left, because a job is like a conscious being with 2 legs or 4 legs that can just get up and walk away from you and disappear into the night. These things have been repeated so much by Black men and Black women in the Black community, respectively, that I don't at this point even understand anymore. Do people really think these things, or they just don't? But it's been repeated so much. And again, since this is an evolutionary thing, so it's funny. Here's my little video on the side that I just did about reality, reading morality and abstract thinking, how Africans may differ from Westerners. So this is a great cross point to one of my last videos. That I think Black people, there's a cognition issue where they repeat. Okay, let me back this up. So in that article that just covered that video, one of the things that this American teaching in Africa, South Africa, relays is the fact that, as we know, a lot of African languages weren't written down. They're almost pretty much exclusively verbal until, whites show up and they start engaging the language. You get dictionaries and stuff down the road. So there's a lot of I don't know why I'm forgetting that very common term, storytelling, verbal sharing of language and communication. So we've evolved from a race of people that have pretty much exclusively not had to write things down. So a lot of things are said, or spoken in language, that are shared and not written. So how knowledge and history and that kind of thing travels throughout the race, from father to son, mother to daughter, down the genetic family line is near exclusively verbal. So we get to these constant, in the 60s, feminism, welfare, and I just think that it's so easy for us, and this is why this is even more dangerous, is because we just will keep saying something and not really have anything to tie it back to. Something cannot be true, but Black people will just kind of hold on to things collectively. Well, some other Black person, Leroy told you at the shop, Tasha told you at the nail salon, etc. I don't want to get off into a way too much of a tangent because I can't really, because I don't really want to go down there too far. But that's a part of that problem too. So back to the point. I'm on the point. I'm just I'm walking around it because I want to really lay the foundation of what I'm trying to express here. So I don't necessarily hope that you don't just think any of these things, but you can think what you want to think. That's up to you. But blaming people, other faults in your channel dedicated to fighting Black victimhood. And that's fine, and you can say that, but when your videos, when you insist and imply, or even just remotely just throw away, say, well, fathers were taken, because you didn't say kicked in the video, you said taken. I hear kicked, I hear pushed, all kinds of verbs, describe it, but I think you said were moved or taken out. You didn't say kicked. You said one of the two. But when you say that, that is a form of Black victimhood because it's not ascribing any agency. Well, one, we're saying Black men. So we're talking about millions of people that comprise a population will be described as Black men. So you're not ascribing to individual, so did one guy leave because maybe he died? Maybe he had a heart attack one day, killed over? Did he leave the home because he was a drunk and he was drinking? Did he leave the home because he started falling into the crack cocaine and had a drug problem? Cynthia G, and I just did a video about this a week ago. It's interesting enough. Like I said before, it's interesting to me finding some things of use in her videos where she talks about the fact her father's a crackhead. And she makes a very good point saying, the other woman was able to back her up, which is crazy, that her father, her mother had about 8 children. She wanted him to be around and she tried to keep the man around, but he was in and out of a drug addiction. And what she claimed in the video, he's still an active crackhead out there. So, so that's a part of the fighting Black victimhood. Then, and I'm not saying you personally have to, because you weren't around 1965, 1970. You appear to be in your early mid 30s, just like I am. So neither of us were even there then. But this is where Black men, one thing that, not that I'm looking for, nor do I particularly care if it ever happens, but this is one place where Black men should actually start having that conversation with themselves. The brothers can have this conversation with themselves about unpacking why some of the fathers weren't in the home. But again, you are reinforcing Black victimhood when you say that, because you're not ascribing agency or any kind of situational considerations for why men weren't there or why they were there and why they left. One of the big things that I'm going to talk about probably forever on this channel and other incarnations is that how do you get kicked out of or pushed out of or taken out of, whatever verb you want to use right there, out of the home a home that you own, because that's implying that, that the man, if you are on the mortgage, you pay the mortgage, it's legally your home, your name is on the deed. How does either black woman, black feminism, Uncle Sam, I don't know, just any of those reasons or factors that keep getting thrown out, how do those things come and take some man out of the home that he lives in, that he is on the mortgage for, that he has the deed to? No one ever stops to explain that or anything, because then again, it's enforcing black victimhood because it's not ascribing agency to individuals who make individual choices. So the example given: we did not import drugs into our communities. Whites did, and we sold them. But it's funny because it is sad, because you're trying to prove something to me, but you're literally leaving me breadcrumbs to just go right back in and say, no, that's exactly what you're doing. Yeah, okay, we sold them. Whites imported them into it, didn't import the drugs to their communities. I don't want to get on the CIA crack thing, you know. Yeah, and you sold them. Okay, I'm gonna just leave that one because I still haven't gotten my response yet. Okay, I'll give you that one, just because of the way that it's phrased. It's very simple. I'm not gonna go to finer points of who's actually flying them in, where they were produced, all that stuff. Not gonna go there, but fine. Where did the black men? All the black men go? Prison. Still shit, man. Every single black man. So no black man ever went to college. None ever became like an associate manager at McDonald's. No, none ever went to become a plumber. All the black men went to prison. But goddamn, you should be on Storefront. Like, I mean, yeah, like I'm just saying, it's like, it's funny. Like, and that's the other thing too. I think a lot of black men in these situations, they can't figure out how to argue this. Well, they're all the black men who went to prison, but then the next thing, well, we have jobs and we're not all thugs and we're not all in prison and we're not all baby daddies. But I thought you all went to prison, so that makes you a thug. Well, no, but we're not all thugs. I'm gonna leave that one there too, because I guess all the black men went to prison, huh? Okay. The Clinton super predator phrase came from. Well, funnily enough, during the election, and like I totally got under my white liberal Hillary Clinton supporting friends when I told them, yeah, I think the super predator was a very apt term for a lot of some of these niggas out there. That was an absolutely apt term. And what was I'm not gonna go pull it up. I think the full quote was basically, they have no remorse. The recidivism is going to be pretty high, and we need to bring them to heel. And I was like, well, look at the murder stats in Chicago, Baltimore. I named all the chocolate majority minority cities where black men and a large smattering of Hispanics can't stop shooting each other. So to be honest, then yeah, I mean, I think Super Predator is fitting. I have no problem with that comment. It's actually pretty spot on to describe the behaviors of quite a few, more than enough, black male criminals and their super predatory behavior. I don't want to go grab the Eldridge Cleaver quote right now, because that's something we should cover on its own. I might have pulled it up, mentioned it briefly, but Eldridge Cleaver talked about in his book raping black girls and women in his own community before he crossed the train tracks over to start raping white women. That's some predatory behavior. If you listen to this or you happen to check it out later, Chris, look up the we'll just pull up that one. It's such a sad, despicable story. I just want to make sure I get both of their names right, because they have one of them has a surname that's like the last name. So I'm just gonna pull that up quickly. I should have left that open. Yep, Shannon Christian and Christopher Newsom. So I'll just, basically it was a horrific. Now I'm just looking to see. I don't see a photo where they have all four of the Here we go. We'll just click on it. But it's probably going to go away because we're not going to watch it. So yeah, this was a double murder. It was a brutal, horrific. Here we go. It was a brutal, horrific double murder of these two young. I don't think they were probably, if they weren't in college, they were college age. I think this happened in Tennessee, somewhere in Tennessee. I want to say, if I'm not mistaken. This is probably maybe 5 or 6 years ago. You can go look it up. You see the the headline here. You can go find it out. I'm not going to link it in the video. These are super predators. And when you read the details of this crime, 4 black men and 1 black woman who participated, these are super predators, and death penalty wouldn't be good enough for these apes. So I like the term super predator. So that's the one thing I joked. That was probably the one thing for Hillary Clinton I would have voted for her on had it not been for Trump. Well, yeah. So I have no problem with super predator statement. Have you heard of the Tuskegee experiment? Of course I've heard of the fucking Tuskegee experiment. Come on, dude. Come on. Yes, I've heard of it, but I love to look it up with the exclamation point, like I didn't like take 6th grade, like American history. Okay, so my message is clear: eradicate black victimhood. That's fine. That can be your message. That's great. I don't even know if I have a message on this channel yet. I haven't really decided. I think this is still just me, fleshing out a lot of things I want to talk about, and then I'll probably maybe hone in on like 1 or 2 things specifically, exclusively, or just continue or expand. I like to do food. I like to talk about wine. I like to talk about travel, a whole bunch of other kind of more non-race, politics, societal issues. So that's probably in the future, and that's a given. But if that's your message to eradicate black victimhood, I guess you can keep tinkering at it, but maybe just in the future, you might want to just be a little bit considerate of, especially that 1960s loop that a lot of you and other black men commentators keep falling to, and they try to like retell black history. And especially as you said previously, like you're trying to tell, like your channel does attract a fair amount of white people. Excuse me. And anyway, just if you want to eradicate black victimhood, that's fine. But anyway, let's talk about me. So first, I was like, unrambling Negro, please. I've addressed that here in other videos. So find something else to critique. I'm on my way out the door. I believe you deserve a proper, well-rounded reply. Blah, blah, blah. See, you made a video on Jared Taylor that I wanted to engage. You have to go look for that later. I remembered that, but then this other video that we're going to talk about in a second was already on my backlog. So, yeah. So, if you like to do a Google Hangout, because this is about creating discussion, not fighting, there's enough of that in the black community. When some of your viewers told you in the comment section you ramble, you didn't respond so negatively, but with me using immature phrase like Negro, please. Communication is key, and you have to provide an antidote for the alien community that you have an issue with. I have enough subs that will be interested in our discussion. Oh, again, Negro, what? Like, you see, this is really key here. This is a perfect example. You see how black men, and this is now the 3rd or 4th black male that's commented on this channel. And and we talk about this amongst the sisters in the circles I'm in, not these pick me mammy hoes, that they just always try to establish this kind of authority. You have no business telling me what I can or shouldn't be doing, which you should do. He don't talk like that. You hear his man. But he sound like that snaggletooth nigga on the corner. What you should do, what you need to be doing, you should do, what you need to be doing, you should do. You might as well just talk to me like that, because that's how it's almost like in Charlie Brown. He hears his teacher, it's like, when I hear black men talking to me about what I should be doing, that's literally how it comes out, and that's what it sounds like in my head. So I don't have to fucking do anything. This is like my channel, and I'm an autonomous, sovereign black woman who will do the fuck what I want to do. So again, like, you see that the little authority trips, like, it's so funny. The race of men who have, like, again, I haven't covered the Brookings article. The problem is the black men. We just have to go grab this one, because this is specifically why I take issue with black men try to tell me something. Here we go. Boom. Bam. It's first in the Google search, baby. The inheritance of black poverty. It's all about the men. And you already saw me at length discuss the New York Times piece that came out about a week or so ago. And you know what? I might just have to do a separate video tonight. It's almost 11 here. But anyway. Blah, 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 blah. Black men stuck in poverty. Shady's latest. Black and rights, different starting blocks. Mobility. Black men have low earnings, mobility. Now, again, black men and black women have low family income, mobility, lower marriage rates are hurting black mobility. Stimulating marriage does little to improve mobility for black women. They have the real how black men help black. Look at that. Isn't that sad? Help black men to help black families. if they didn't make any fucking black families to start with, we, I guess, society, and then apparently, like as I said at length in the New York Times video I did, apparently black women, we're supposed to go walk into our jobs and ask our white employers to hire them. Maybe they shouldn't be having families that they can't help, because by having these families, we all have to turn around and help them to help these families that have fallen out of their pants. Anyway, so just going back to that, like, so these are this is the second after the New York Times article that just came out earlier in the month. Basically, there's a slow noose being drawn around the black man. And it's so funny to watch this all happen in real time and watch everything move faster and faster now, because the same little, and I'm not I just want to make it clear, especially because I'm responding to Chris and why reading that comment made me think of this. Because this is not directed at him. This is just circumstantial that he's leaving this comment. This could have been Phil these nuts or one of them other, some other, insert other black male to come and say that comment. This the level of entitledness and what you should be doing, and this neck rolling that black men do with this kind of fake authority they have to throw around, particularly at black women. Now, I don't particularly agree with this, but I hear some black women say, well, it's funny, George Zimmerman's still walking around out there, but black men got time to harass black women online and call us BT 1000s, hair-headed hooligans, bitches, thoughts, and hoes, but George Zimmerman walk around scot-free, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah, I don't, the underlying premise of that comment, I don't agree with, but the sentiment, I do actually agree with, because they could throw all kinds of telling you what y'all should be doing. We got to do this for the black race, and you need to be doing this. The inheritance of black power is all about the men. Articles like this, the New York Times study, that's basically giving us, it's like a slow, like a dog whistle alarm that black men ought to be heeding right now about exactly where they fit in this country and in the whole global scene. But then they got time to kind of try to talk to and check you. But then I'm like, now then I go read something like this. I'm like, whoa, where does this black man get any kind of authority? Now, individually, whether it's Chris, like I said, this could be any other black man leave this comment, because this is now like the first time I've gotten this type of like kind of weird low-key antagonism and this kind of like what you should be doing from a black man on this channel. It's not the first, it's definitely not be the last, and also on other platforms where I've engaged with black men particularly. But y'all need to be worried about yourselves and be worried about these studies that are coming out, because I need to just address in a separate video, because I had some more kind of earth-shattering thoughts since that whole article came out. That's a really good red. Drinking a Petit Verdot. One of my favorite red wines currently is Michael David's Petit. It's half Petit Syrah and half Petit Verdot. And I saw this at the store, and it's just 100% Petit Verdot, which usually uses the blending grape. But this is just a standalone, single grape, single, varietal bottle of Petit Verdot by itself. It really shines. Not too dry. Real fruit forward. Kind of like more blackberry, more darker fruit finish. Anyway, so so communication is key, and you have to provide, with all caps here, I have to provide an antidote for the alien community that you have an issue with. No, I don't. I want to do with the watchword that's evolved amongst a lot of black women, particularly in the circles I tend to inhabit, is divestment. So no, the funny thing is, Chris, that's just absolutely not happening. And more and more black women like myself are taking that heed. Because I said below, let's just go through real quick. Oh, except for that one. No, that's it. Yeah, I took it out. Damn it. What I was going to say is, what I originally said in my reply under here was that no, since black men, particularly like, because Kendall said it once, they've like that social media is a black woman's best friend, because we've always historically known black men have had these issues, these problems with us, and there's a whole host of the intra-racial issues that we have for some time. But social media, the rise of the He-Man Black Woman Haters Club, look at David Carroll peeking out over there in the recommendations. The Tommies, your Tariqs, your this, your that, your Umars, all these black men who have rushed to social media, particularly places like YouTube, to tell the whole world how they feel about black women, black daughters, black lovers, how they feel about our motherhood, about our bodies, our skin tone, our nether regions, everything from the rooter to the tutor. And now a good chunk of black women like myself, we have listened, and we hear you know, what you guys are saying, and we've heard, and then maybe not individually Chris. So it's funny you want to talk about making solutions and need an antidote to alien community. No, because I've been told I'm a beastie, hair-hatted hooligan. I'm the worst steward of children. I give birth to nothing but thugs. I don't want to sleep with thugs. I'm too dark. I mean, I'm not even gonna, I don't have to rehash. We're already right here on YouTube. You go look around and see exactly how black men feel about black women. So this community can literally go fuck itself. And I say, you are mistaken. You are mistaken implying that I care about the black community. The problem with black women, and that's been going on forever, is us carrying this community on our backs, us giving Negroes children that they don't want, basically not heeding that we've been told in now 1,000 ways that we aren't wanted unless to be workhorses of the community. You know, let some, I think a lot of these older black women, especially, are going to be this last generation of black women, rallying the troops to come care about the community. Some black women sitting right now in some community center, getting some little program set up, making some dinners, inviting some local congressman critter to come talk about the community in some, like, church basement or public school basement in the middle of some hood someplace. So no, I don't need an antidote for anything. I have heard me and other black have heard loud and clear how this community feels. We've had now in the second wave of this are dealing with enough pushback and fighting amongst other black women who won't stop it. And black women have made it very clear to many of them where they stand in this, and they do not stand with their fellow black women's sisters, their daughters, their own mothers. And those of us who hear and heard loud and clear what this community thinks of us and what they have shown that they're not ever going to do for us, and the things they will do for us, which is next to nothing. I'm not here to save anything, but that's responsible to itself. I'm just dragging that out. But communication is key. No, I mean, being called a BC hair-hatted hooligan BT 1000 for about 10 years online in front of the whole world. It's funny. I thought about this. Older black people used to kind of just joke, like, you don't want to go outside showing your color. We don't want to be talking about black folks because white folks might be listening. But this black male, particularly, the first things I thought about this, especially in the era of Obama, when YouTube is only about 10 years old. It was just maybe around for a few years prior to Obama. You would think, what did the black man decide to get online and talk about? You get online and go, hey, brothers, let's reflect on the 80s and 90s, where we are as black men and what we can do for the young brothers behind us. What can we do to, like, help each other, fix each other, do stuff. Mm, you would think that would happen, right? I mean, I'm gonna just blow your mind and tell you that it didn't happen. That it came and talk about hair weaves and makeup and black women are evil and die hood rats die and single black baby moms and how they gonna be pimps and how they got hidden colors and all the things that black men spent the time populating the social media space with. It's the same. So you want to ask me to come provide solutions again? This is what Kendall complains about, and other black women like myself now are going to say. And then always some black male to come find your channel, tell you what you should be doing, but he ain't got no fucking words to say to these black men that look like him, that are out here creating all that have been putting kerosene onto this fire for some time. They always can come find a way to come check black women because they assume that you're always going to fall back into their fold. Like, I'm just knowing these like basic bitch black women. Oh yeah, brothers, we gotta stick together and we gotta save the race and I love my black people. Again, like the black woman is like this eternal hippie when it comes to this race, and it's sitting here like we just pray enough and talk to white Jesus enough, it's gonna fix something. There's no fixing anything here. I have no antidote, and even if I did have an antidote, I wouldn't share it with the black community anyway. I wouldn't share a black stand anyway. I have a solution for myself as an individual black woman, and I have solutions for other black women and girls who I deem, worthy of my time and that I want to build relationships with. Every other black person is just some other black person. It's like Jean-Paul Sartre and his, very famous play No Exit. One of the closing taglines of that is hell is just other people. And one day I was going to write this. Somebody can probably steal it from me now. I was going to say like that should be a memoir about race and from my experience with black people. Hell is just other black people. Anywho, so I already covered Camille Paglia, and I showed you that reference. Oh, and so then the only thing I guess I'd add here is I told him, I'm not fighting anyone. And again, I'm fighting and being negative. Like, what do you think a majority of black men online do? And it's so funny, like, I already beat that point to the ground, and it's in other videos that I made. But so I'm fighting and being negative. Oh my God. The murder rates in Chicago, that's not fighting and being negative. The amount of like rape molestation that happens in the black community, that's not, negative at all. I mean, Anyway, so I am a dissident right, alt-right, I suppose, but am shrugging that label a bit due to recent events. Oh man, still gotta cover all the alt-right drama, dude. Whoa, it's been a doozy the past few weeks, bruh. Pro-white race realist. I'm a former normie black Tea Party conservative who has red pilled on pretty much everything. So I guess I'll close with this whole section up with this response to Chris with that. I'm not some like basic bitch black conservative type, we just gotta get more education and school vouchers and gotta get the blacks back in the church and more fathers in the home. Because they were kicked out the home by these invisible troops or maybe some clandestine Martian force. But if we just all roll the clock back 1965 by doing these 3 or 4 things, everything will just be peaches and cream for the black race. I'm red pilled on pretty much everything: race, gender, sex, the IQ question, the JQ question, all that stuff. And I'm beyond. So like even, and I this not to be. This is gonna sound here. It's gonna sound mean, but I don't care. Like yeah, I don't have any desire to like have these discussions with black people who are just stuck on this normie tier goofiness. There's no fixing the black race. The black race is pretty much served its evolutionary purpose, and is the white man's one day going to stop feeding South Africa. Now the Chinese are there on the continent, and I think things will fare a little bit better for them. But I have some thoughts, but I really couldn't give you enough intel on what I think will happen to Africa going forward as the whites stop feeding them as much, and whites tend to kind of withdraw. The nationalism overtakes the globalism impulses in a lot of Western societies. I don't know what happens next, what happens there, but then here in America, especially, again, the inheritance of black poverty is all about the men. I don't think it's coincidence. Well, I don't know. Maybe it's not a coincidence that this article in the New York Times, Poor Black Boys articles come out within 2 weeks of each other. They're kind of signaling who the problem is here in this situation. Now, this black woman in her womb. See, that's the thing. Black women's wombs make these black men who basically are the key factor in all this black poverty. This is what Brookings is saying. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and tell you like, oh, this is like something, how I get on mainstream news and establish like, mainstream news sources. So I'm not going to sit here and just sing their praises because they're shading black men or anything like that. Um, it's so many words. It's so funny because like, I just literally think black men don't understand that they pick. I was thinking this in the car home when I was getting ready to make this. It's like black men pick the worst fight with the wrong person that they really shouldn't have. Um, these are the signals that people are starting to get, and now that people are slowly being able to just express that this is what they think, and they're locating where this problem lies, and they have black men marked. If I was a black man right now, this is stuff I'd be paying attention to individually because the clock is, it was that saying, sometimes it's not 10 to midnight, black man. It's actually a quarter past. So you better get to goddamn work and figure that out. Yeah, so I guess that was pretty much it. I can feel myself just kind of now, like I feel myself meandering and kind of wandering away because I think sometimes I forget. Like I get to a point where everything that's been said has been said. You know, always come back, but it's like that thing don't have like a long goodbye because it just makes it like kind of weird and whatever. So anyway, that's my response for now. If I have something else to follow up with, maybe Chris writes back. Oh, because he's always said, well, do you want to do a discussion? I guess this will be the last point. I bet he has people on his channel who would love to hear it. Great, that's totally cool. Again, because I said this in other videos, this is mostly a platform aimed at, in the long run, if it stays this platform and change something else, I'm here to talk about maybe more dissident right, alt-right topics, and the majority of the people in that scene tend to be white men, anywhere from like teenagers now, well up to their 40s and 50s. Then there's also the black women issues and kind of BWE brick tile channels that I subscribe to, and people that talk to online that are black women predominantly, and more often than not, not it's not an all black women channel because there's a lot of black women who I have no desire to engage or talk to either. So basically, with those two topics of interest and things that I tend to cover and people I engage with, more often than not, the demographic are black women and white men. Now, I guess at some point there's some things I may reference that relate to white women, especially some things that I'm culturally and socially interested in. I was thinking about Dawson's Creek recently. I was thinking about Jamie Foxx and Katie Holmes or something, and I was like, oh, I used to love that show, Katie. She's dead to me though, by the way. Well, she's dead to me for she married Tom Cruise too. But anyway, so basically, those are like the two just de facto because of things I discussed. Those are two audience of people that I'm looking to engage. Now, but if something presents itself, I may be interested. But I think, just because you said in this comment, do you want to like discuss? I think a neutral party, like maybe, somebody on somebody else's platform, or, if he wants to do it, we bring someone in, or maybe I could suggest someone that, maybe isn't really in the race circle or necessarily in the politics circle. I don't know. I could offhand, I could think of a few people that, might be interesting to see if they would want to like, I don't even really see like a formal debate, but, I don't know. Basically, that would be something that would be interesting under that condition. I just don't really this is this is gonna be really it's not vicious, it's vicious towards his comments. So the first few things I was reading from the normie white comments are these, oh my god, it's a black guy saying this stuff. And the funny thing is in my alt-right Hotep video, that's the point I'm trying to make long term, is argue that the problem is whites from the normie conservatives all the way over to the alt-right. You see this, like some black person says, some particularly black man that's halfway decent and it's not ooga booga. And then you even see, but see, the thing is, it's less of that when it's a black woman. Most of the black women who make some of these same points get no attention because there's this underlying impression that a lot of white people have. They're like, there's just going to be all these great black guys who are just going to rise up and lead the black race, and they'll stop the rapping and the hipping and the hopping and the gang banging and the shooting and the degenerate out of wedlock birth rates, and they'll all just magically go away if we just like, up, share, and vote and subscribe to like a few black men who say something decent. And either black women, there are not enough of us making the same kind of points, or even look at having with Stacey Dash, or you know, some like black women conservatives. Like Diamond is still that's a hard analogy because anyway. So it's something I'd be interested in under certain conditions. You know, it's something I would consider potentially. That's not a firm yes or a firm no. Now listen to comment. You watch the video tonight, see what you think about it, and if you're still interested, I would consider it on your channel if we bring in like a third party person to kind of facilitate and keep the discussion, kind of flowing and kind of going. There's probably some people, maybe some black women from some circles I run in, if if it felt like it would be like, oh, two black women against one black man, there's any kind of worry about that. There's like maybe one black man on YouTube that I've seen some of his videos and he kind of interests me. Like he doesn't have the same ulterior motive, or just it's kind of like the repeating of the same black basic talking points. Garage Autonomist, I think that's his channel's name. He makes videos here and there, very, not like he's like a heavy hitter, but he seems to be a black man that like I could actually consider like not. He doesn't seem to antagonize me or just annoy me the way majority of them on YouTube do. Just like one of the few that's making videos that are just about something and not just black men trying to bait you in just to beat you over the head with the same talking points. But anyway, so that's all I have to say about that. It's already 11:15, man. So I've been going for a minute, y'all. So I really want to address this. I already put in the title. If you want to like, I'll give you a moment. If you want to just stop here and kind of think about how long it's been. It's been about an hour. No, it's been about 45 minutes. No, I started a little after 10. Okay. You want to stop here and come back for part 2? You certainly can, because I do want to cover this. So, this is from a couple years ago, actually. This upload in 2010. And this is, you can see from the title, if you type in just like the fragments of that statement, you end up with so much horse shit. It's like black women, like, just to do a whole video, like, why have we, anyway. Now, it's a 7-minute clip, but I was listening to this in the car on the way over, and I realized I don't want to play the whole thing, because there's about a 3-minute mark. Oh, they cheated on. Okay, let's just jump in here. Hope I didn't miss it.
Pass me the ball, Steve. Now, listen. Number one, we come out in over the last 40 or 50 years. And you look,
no. Black people.
Pass me the ball.
Okay, so I guess a little bit of setup, as you can see from the title, the links below. It's only 7 minutes. You go watch it from the beginning. Obviously, me and time, brevity are sometimes things that don't always think up. There wasn't so much as goofy ass laughing and audience pandering. We're gonna have to back up because it felt weird all along. Okay, it was a 3 minute mark. Let's just start here.
We're trying. Listen to this, Sherry, and I completely hear that and understand it. But when you talk about that, it's and I know you're not saying this, but brothers are tired too. You see,
Okay.
Understand.
All right. Tell me what you're tired of. Tell me what you're tired of. I want to know. I am listening.
Steve is just leaving me out there.
Well, we really didn't gain anything emotional. So let me just pause real quick. So this, that's really the type black women find a man. I'll offer a clue. The first correction to this should be, why can't successful black women find? Oh, they did. So they said, see, look at the percentile. They find a black man, but the thing that the actual talk is find a man. Okay.
That's me the ball, Steve.
They changed the tone.
Listen, number one, we come out in over the last 40 or 50 years, and you look at the jobs, you go transfer out of the industrial age into more of a office-based working environment, right? Brothers found it more difficult to find those office jobs. The individuals that were hiring, the men that didn't look like us that were hiring, were more comfortable hiring black women for those jobs. So what starts happening is that sisters start earning because brothers are having trouble finding jobs. The industrial type jobs are going away. And all of a sudden, sisters are earning, more sisters are getting opportunities within these corporations, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And you have brothers that are finding it more difficult because there are men that are threatened by brothers that are running things.
So, absolutely.
When I say brothers are tired in a certain way, I'm not saying they're tired of black women. I'm saying they're tired of dealing with the things that you deal with as a black man attempting to get your piece of the pie. So what happens is, what do brothers want at the end of the day after dealing with that?
Okay, great. Every time I hear this, it's like, so we just listen this. You see the topic, they go over all kinds of black issues, ins and outs. I just wanted to hone on that because that's literally, this almost goes back to the Where's Your Chris video that we just were discussing previously. I know I've covered not, but this was a perfect description of this black man sitting here, and they have this historical narrative from of 1960 or so that they just expound upon, and it's so recited. And he, look at him, Hill Harper's in his 40s. He may have been a very young child at that point. So I don't even know how he would know that for sure. And they just keep repeating and repeating and repeating this. So this is almost kind of what, in a way, I guess originally I was kind of accusing Chris of. And I don't think he understood. And I guess now that I have this clip, I may have used this before in the last video, the New York video. Maybe I did, maybe I did. I hope I did, because this is indicative of this point that they're trying to make it a New York Times article that black women now, have all these jobs and the black men don't have no jobs, because the white man had a box of jobs, right? And he was handing them out, and he just didn't give the black man any. And he just does this perfectly, because this is the literal monologue that most of these black men have recited in their heads about what happened and why they don't have anything. So I'm just gonna quickly move through the points, because this is kind of what I'm glad I thought about this today. Let me just make sure.
Getting opportunities within these corporations, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It's the working environment, right? Brothers found we come out in over the last 40 or 50 years. Pass me the ball, Steve. No, listen.
Okay, so we're gonna move point by point just through this, because I think that's about it. There's something else really good in here too. Darn it. So much to talk about. This will have to be a video again too. This is just perfect. I was reflecting on how perfect of an example this was, and for me to just stumble upon this. So let's move through point by point.
We come out in over the last 40 or 50 years, and you look at the jobs, you go transfer out of the industrial age into more of a office-based working environment, right? Brothers found it more difficult to find those office jobs. The individuals that were hiring.
Okay, they found it more difficult to find the jobs. And it's so, and this, again, this is the disembodied way Black people tend to talk. And again, this feeds back into the whole, our Black people, Africans, just those observations that professor made about how we just think, and we think differently, and abstract thinking is more difficult for us. And he gave this example of the Zulu word for like promise. There's no word for it, but there's a word that approximates that description in English. But when you break down the translation in their language, it physically means to tie one's hands and feet. So you get this like way of saying and believing something that we just think differently. So these jobs, they were harder to find. That doesn't mean they didn't exist. I have it in my hand right now. It will take me a second to find it. But again, Winning the Race, Beyond the Crisis in Black America by John McWhorter. In like the second chapter of the book, he goes over the city of Indianapolis. And I mentioned this before because it's a perfect way of thinking about this. A lot of the jobs, like for cities like Indianapolis, wasn't that big. And a carpool, maybe taking a city bus out as far as you could go, maybe another 20 minutes on foot or something, will get you to where a lot of the jobs originally move. A lot of the jobs do, and a lot of things leave the city center and just move out to the outer ring burbs. So for the same Black race that everyone loves to boast about, even though only maybe a couple hundred people were even there, they love to brag about the Montgomery bus boycott and how Black people got together and carpool and got around to kind of break the system on the whole bus segregation thing. You're telling me that just within the next decade or so, Black men, wherever they were, couldn't partner with other Black men and get together and carpool to work when the jobs left? The jobs didn't start going to Mexico and overseas for quite a bit of time. So to keep hearing this, the jobs left, the jobs left, the jobs left thing is absolute lunacy. It's just this oft repeated phrase that Black men like Hill Harper and like other Black men keep repeating. And again, going back to the Chris video, this is kind of the original, I said, part of my criticism is, and this explains it beautifully. 1960, all of a sudden this thing happens. So now we're sitting here in 2018 and beyond with Black men just sitting here. Well, what had happened was in 1960, all this stopped and this all happened. And that's why we're sitting here. It's like, I just don't think that's just how dangerous this thinking is. So anyway, let's move back over.
The men that didn't look like us that were hiring were more comfortable hiring Black women for those jobs.
There we go. And then this is so eerie because I was listening to this. They just repeated this in the goddamn New York Times article. I already did like 2, almost 3 videos about it. Go back and look through my Examining New York Times piece video. They're basically still, again, so I didn't realize how early the setup has been, and that this is what Black, that's another side topic. There's Black men and women that I know in my immediate family, people I may engage with at work or like in the public sphere, but I don't know personally at this late stage in my life really any Black men on a personal level. And I actually don't really know any Black. I don't really have any really close Black female friends. I don't have any good Black women friends, and like online I do. Online I do. Like my online Black girlfriend, she lives in Canada. She's really hot. Yeah. So I didn't realize that this was something until this New York Times article really articulated. I mean, there's been series of it in conversations, but so the white man felt more comfortable hiring you instead of us. So the one thing is this competitiveness that we've talked about as amongst Black women that Black men have, that they're competing with Black women. Like then, so when the interracial thing comes up, well, we date out more than y'all do. We got more white women or Asian women and exotic women than y'all do. Y'all don't date nobody. So and then but it's like, why? Do you think Asian men start going, well, what Asian women go throw that in Asian men's faces? Or like, I don't know what the ratio of white, more whites men and Asian women tend to partner out, and white women partner out more often than not. It's like with someone maybe probably Hispanic, then maybe Asian. I don't know what the breakdown is, but this constant competing with women. So then that you factor that in with that, like I said, that authoritative way they try to come talk to you and check you in your own comment section about stuff and try to get all like, what you need to do. And it's like, but y'all get the jobs the white man gave you. It's like, when someone said this at first a year ago, it kind of made me feel like, and maybe was like, oh, that's a little bit harsh. I don't want to think that, but it's just more proof that why that stung so much, because it's so true. They're so feminized. Like, it's one thing for women to kind of backbite and compete with each other. Like, ooh, I only had a salad today. Well, I only had a banana and a handful of almonds for lunch. The way women kind of like nag each other. But with Black men and these kind of statements, it is so funny. Like sometimes they the lack of self-awareness. Again, something else that Godiah Braun article covered, there's this lack of self-awareness of Black people, particularly Black men in this situation, where they don't understand just how silly they look comparing themselves to women. Like managerial office jobs. Like, especially, you look at a lot of social changes, like, yeah, people typically want women to like sit there, like file papers and do like typing and stuff. People definitely want to hire men to like, clean the gutters, lift heavy things and do jobs that are there on that level. So so that he boils down to office jobs, and then the industrial jobs left, and we can get the office jobs because the white men were giving to Black women over us. There's no other jobs in any other type of economies, like the technology, getting into like plumbing, ditch digger, garbage man, electrician, someone who manufactures, clothes. I don't. I'm just reaching for things that aren't managerial office jobs and that aren't industrial jobs, because again, this is black and white stark thinking that has no nuance that Black people engage in, that he's just laying out here. There's no other jobs for you to go get. One thing that I think that I would like to really explore is if Black men had understood that Juan and Pedro and them, they was gonna bitch alongside Black people in the '60s about the white man and stuff, but Juan and Pedro and them stayed employed. They even now I see it. Like I've had a boss like a few years ago, real nice Mexican American guys in his 50s. His mother's born in Mexico. When I don't say this in any kind of way, it's just interesting because I want to make it clear that he's probably second generation Mexican, speaks English fluently. I think he speaks Spanish too, probably. But he's married to a white woman. They live in the suburbs. They're normal kids. And you see a lot, and like I see so many second, third generation people who are Hispanic. Their dads and moms probably maybe worked, did gardening, did all the stereotypical stuff that we say Mexicans come here to do. But they're here. Their kids are in college. They're married. They stay in the race. They date white. They just have assimilated. But this Black male is still crying in his beer about something that he wasn't here for in the '60s that happened, and why they can't do anything in 2018. So you literally spent 50 years just sitting here, like. Oh, well, that all happened in 1965 at midnight. So now in 2018, that's why we sit here with our dick in our hands and nothing to do. It's just that I just wish this lack of self-awareness with them, and understand just how bitchified that makes them look. And that's half the reason with these arguments and these discussions, that I just wish that they understood. But I think the level of self-awareness is so low for them and for Black people collectively, because the differences in racial thinking, that they don't understand just how simple and silly this makes them look to keep engaging in this discussion in like 10, 20, 30, 40 years down the line.
So what starts happening is that sisters start earning because brothers are having trouble finding jobs. The industrial type jobs are going away. And all of a
sudden, I've made this point again too. Bill and Jaklowski and Jim, Steversenstein, German, Polish guy that's 8th generation Irish in America. Those white guys with high school diplomas, maybe a little technical school, maybe a little bit of college. They probably maybe only went later on in the '80s once their job was paying for, or credits only like $3,000 for a class, for a full class or for a full year. They managed to move on after the industrial jobs left. When those jobs moved to those college communities out in the inner burbs, they maybe stayed live in the city, maybe they moved a little further out, and they worked those jobs. Every other race of man, especially when you adjust for wages and class, like you still see working class white guys who work these jobs where they still exist in these cities. The ballot of like the Trump vote they kept paying during the election. A lot of these white men moved on through the '60s, '70s, and '80s to those jobs. They commuted, they moved along. And they keep hearing this Black man tell these stories about how he couldn't go nowhere and do nothing for 50 fucking years. It sounds so pathetic. I get so upset about this because it's like someone with no self-awareness. Like your friend is like 800 pounds and she's wearing a bikini and she's like walking out onto the Riviera. And you're like, that's what I feel like with Black men sometimes. Like, I just want you to stop and realize how silly you look to the whole freaking world. But the jobs left. Okay.
Some sisters are earning, more sisters are getting opportunities within these corporations, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And you have brothers that are finding it more difficult because there are men that are threatened by brothers.
And I had a thought, this is how they've been spending it. So they go tell the white man, especially the normally kind of conservative Black guys and these ones who don't talk about everything is the Black woman, single moms. They go over to the white guy channels, the red pill MGTOW channels. They run their mouth about single moms, Black moms, single moms. But then these same Black men on the other side, like Two-Face, They come over here to black women, well, we couldn't do nothing, the white man won't hire us, he won't give us no jobs, he won't do this, the white man. So they're trying to play two sides of people against each other. And this worked for a long enough time. But now with social media and the internet, it doesn't work so well, because now black women can just go over here and see the conversation they're having with white men, and then vice versa, white men can see the things they're over here telling us or saying us about white supremacy and crap. And so, yeah, so the white were threatened by you. I mean, you think about all the legal barriers that were removed in the 60s, but, whites still effectively could do, they just kind of were cowered into like not being able to like do certain things to you, either restrict you or maybe some types of physical aggression. Like, they're not threatened or scared of you. Like, we go look at these studies again. How many of y'all don't have a high school diploma, or you barely tread water? This threatened by you for what? Like, what are they threatened by? Like, they're white men. They make up statistically everything from the guy that runs, is the manager of like the local, like, waste management, all the way up to like the 1% white guy in an office in Manhattan. Again, like I said, it's where white people and other races span the horizon. You can find a white man, fixing your stove. You have a white man that can be running like a multi-million-dollar, like, hedge fund account. They span the horizon. There's so few of you as black men up there. There's way too many you concentrated at the bottom end, and you make up so much spotty numbers in the middle. Look at old saying, the center won't hold, and there's no center for you guys. But yeah, they're threatened by you. Like, what are you talking about? Like, again, this disembodied talk. Well, these white men were scared of us. Why? Who? Where? Like, you remember in school they had these KWO, what you know, what you want to know, and what you learned. That's what I like. Halftime with most black men, when they start opening their mouths about stuff, like, I have all these questions, like, and yeah, like, the rambling comes from like the fact that since I have to listen to this kind of shit that black men and black people collectively spout out, that is like fairy tale bullshit that makes no sense. I have so many rambling questions because black people don't make enough coherent, cohesive statements to express what they're trying to get across. It makes no sense. More questions than answers, guys.
So
Absolutely.
When I say brothers are tired in a certain way, I'm not saying they're tired of black women. I'm saying they're tired of dealing with the things that you deal with as a black man, attempting to get your piece of the pie. So
you see it? You see how they be playing? You see how they be playing? When you said that, I just thought of this. All right. Let's see. See how many letters I gotta type? B. L. Well, there was some kind of story. Oh, there we go. Okay. That someone alleged that they changed the algorithms because like there's black women, if you make these videos, just type in, start talking from BLA, and you just go, black women, bitches, hoes, hate them, blah 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 blah. And so I was like, oh, maybe this is gonna work if they did change the algorithms. Tired black women getting past choosing bad men, black women's attitude, dear black people, poor black women, Chanel bags. He has a point. Black men getting tired of black women's foolishness. Black men tired of black women. Tired of being black. Black men tired of black women. Okay, now just you see, you go do the I'm tired of black women search. Yeah. We're not tired of black women, you see. Anyway, just wanted to add a count. I don't think that needs any further comment.
what happens is, what do brothers want at the end of the day after dealing with that? They want to come home to a sister who has some, that lifts them up in a way.
Wait a second, nigga. Wait. But you just told us y'all couldn't find no jobs for 50 goddamn years. So how are you gonna come home and want her to like be, Miss, like the Cleavers, Miss Mama Cleaver, whatever that lady is, the famous 50s mom with the like apron on, a little bit of lipstick and perfume when her man gets home, the turkey in the oven. But y'all ain't got no job. So theoretically, you don't have to come home to anything because your unemployed ass has been there all day. So like, I literally thought that in the car and I was listening. So I'm like, wait a second, like, how are you coming home? But you said y'all ain't got no jobs the past 50 years. So when you already just be sitting there on the couch or just playing like, you know, Mr. Stay-at-home dad or something like that, or stay-at-home husband, house husband or something, you know. But we want to come home today, have you lift us up. Oh, you know, I was thinking about making a video about the show Scandal. I'll say that there's a scene in Scandal where Olivia Pope's mom, man, she gave this speech that was just like, whew. But yeah, lift us up, lift us up. Oh, because a poor white man hurt your feelings. He killed the jobs and gave them all to black women. Like, again, the lack of awareness of just how bitch feminine this is when you really break it down and adjust for like, it's a little bit. I know this sounds callous, but I kind of feel bad for black men in this sense. They say this stuff because they have no awareness of just how pathetic it sounds. And the only people that care are black women, and particularly, as I was suggesting previously, when they picked all these online fights with the videos, like we just saw a sampling of that, black women's hair weaves, their attitudes, they stink, we hate them, blah, 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 blah. The only people that care about this are black women because they love black men, they love their sons, they love this, and they love blackity black man. They're the only ones who care. So you chase them away. You gonna go tell the sob story to the white man? He gonna look at you like, okay. Go tell it to the white women. Okay. Go tell you think the Asian Hispanics, particularly them, like some alt writers have suggested this over the years. What do black people think happens when whites become a minority and the Hispanic majority and Asian majority, or Asians probably won't be a majority, but when they pretty much replace the kind of boomer post World War II era whites who opened up the Great Society for Blacks? What do you think happens? You think this Hispanic man go sit here and rub y'all back and whatever? Like, funnily enough, we keep saying this. I keep saying this. The China man is gonna be the new white man in Africa in 100 years. They tell a story about a white man came, took everything, colonialism. It's gonna be the China. They're gonna just sub it. They're gonna scratch out the word white man and replace it with China man in 100 years. I won't be here to see it, but you can just mark my words on that. But yeah, come home and lift you up. But nigga, you said y'all have no job, so apparently you've been sitting at home all day. For some reason, some woman's letting you sit in her house. How is you want to come home to something, but you said y'all have no jobs because the white man would give them to you. So how are you going to be coming home from where? Staying on the corner all day? Are you like, like I was the theory about Mr. Rogers that he lost his job, and so he would get up in the morning and pretend to leave and go put a suit on, and then he would go to the neighborhood and make believe house, and he would like sit there and play that all day, and then go home in his suit so his wife didn't think he lost his job. So anyway, that's a real crazy tangent ramble, but that's like one of my like theories about the Mr. Rogers show. But that can be expanded upon later, my conspiracy channel.
Joy, effervescence, light, whatever, free. Be real though. So I'm not saying, and trust me, I'm not saying that means every sister should walk around, just twirling her hair, just, happy-go-lucky. But the point is, we have to be mature enough, put our baggage away. We both come to each other raw, naked, kind of hurt, but saying, together we're going to solve this problem. When I get invited to that event, you're going to come with me, period. I don't think
that was perfect. Now, again, you have what event? You don't have no jobs because for 50 years, the white man let you have no jobs because he's afraid of you and he hates you and he rather give us the jobs. So when you get invited to that party, I'm gonna bring you along. Now this is funny. Now with black women, more often than not, marrying down just to keep a brother or to get a brother to have a black man, and all the hang-ups that black women have about loving the black man and keeping the black race intact, carrying this failed race of people on her back for another 1,000,000,000 years. So yes, with her, she is more often than not likely to date down and marry down to have a brother, to have a black man. But the black man on the opposite end, in an opposite direction, is more apt to tell you once he gets someplace and he gets invited to those parties, he moves up in his job to switch you out, if he ever dated you at all, for some non-black woman, white, Hispanic, Asian, Latina, exotical, whatever. So that with that little thing he's trying to suggest is really only working in one direction, and he's basically just trying to tell black women, well, make sure you get a brother, any brother, and bring him along. Like I said last week in the New York Times article, and then the Yvette Carnell story, the video she did on it, they're basically telling black women, Yeah, if you should ask your boss at work, why are there black men employed here? So are we all supposed to go to work and then ask our white bosses to hire black men too because we need black men to marry, but they ain't got no jobs. The white man gave us all the jobs. Dear Mr. White Man, you see that job you just gave me? Can you break it in half and give some to the black man standing here next to me? It's like when you break these things down again with black people and their thinking, their thought process, and the choice and decisions they make as a racial group. Here, I need a drink. Yeah. Black people and their thought processes make you just gotta stop and have a sip and be like, what's going on here? Now, this is really interesting because I didn't realize this until before, and I'm not gonna go too much longer after this video. You need to stop and come back, but you know how I roll over here. I'll change my name. I title Rambling Wick Weaving Welfare. I'm really thinking about that. I think it'll be really kitchen cool for me to change the name of the channel to that. So Rambling Wick Weaves and Welfare. Ooh, the R and the W seem to have kind of some of those similar kind of like pressures on the mouth when you say them. That might be kind of fun. I'm seriously thinking about that. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Let me know if you want me to change the name of the channel to Rambling Weaves, Wicks, and Welfares. No. It's a work in progress. If you think there's some potential there, maybe you have some different alternatives, let me know. Anyway, this point is really key because she's going to say something. The woman in the purple dress. She's gorgeous, by the way. I love that dress on her. And then the moderator chick is going to say something and do this weird pivot. And it's so bizarre. And I'm still trying to figure this out. But listen to what she says. Then the moderators reply. And then I think one of the black men starts talking again.
I think that, overwhelmingly that black women, successful black women especially, don't want to be there for their man in any way, and that we don't want to be happy and loving and nurturing when you come home from a hard day. We get it. We've dealt with so many things as young women as a whole that a lot of other races have committed suicide over as young people. The molestation, the growing up without a father, the being forced into growing up too fast around the house because mom's got to work 2 or 3 jobs. If you're brown skin, or if you're heavy, or if you're not as attractive as the girls in the magazine, feeling like you're not pretty enough. So when you talk about being happy when you come home, when you add to that a man may be cheating on you or not seeming appreciative of what you are trying to do, then it hurts.
But do you find that black women are too angry and too bitter? Is that what you're saying is men?
You see that? Now, those are some very hard hitting points, and it's funny that this happened years ago, and this discussion now has been had amongst black women like myself and others in certain groups, certain channels, and we talked about this ad nauseum. And so she's sitting there saying, the thing is, it's not men who look like Jared Taylor or Richard Spencer or look like Donald Trump. It's not men with that race or that hue that are doing those things to black women and girls. It's black men and black boys. That's where the rape and molestation is coming from. And just even by her saying that, puts the spotlight right back on this black male. It's not the white man not giving no jobs and all this external fluffery shit that they like to fill these discussions with. That's something real, that's tangible, and that's a lot of the anger, and even also something in some cases where some of the weight issues it has come from. I was watching My 600-Pound Life with my friend, and the episode was about a black girl, and she talks about being raped and molested as a teen. She's like 29 and she's like 600 pounds. It's weird. She's like one of the few people in the episode who does not lose the first 60 pounds in the 30 days that they'll give you the free surgery for, whatever. So you see how she's trying to locate the original, the source of some of the original hurt and pain that does, in a lot of cases, make black women bitter, makes them angry, makes them sad. If the report that there's about 60% of black women and girls under age 18, now I think the parameters are very broad here. It could be anything from maybe being felt up on the street, to being molested, like, physical touching of the breast or the vagina or genitals, all the way to like rape. So I don't have it up now and I'm not going to go pull it. But when we describe sexual nature, sexual assault or harassment or molestation, we're working that very wide platform there. And if it's reported that about 60% of black women and girls from age 18 or so this happens to, then that would give you kind of at least a very good correlation to what where we're seeing where like, oh, so these black women so angry, so bitter. There's a fuck lot of reasons why, and that's a big one that's never talked about. And the main reason I talked about, because then you have to start implicating black men. Majority of, again, the same thing with the out of wedlock thing. Black women, all these babies. Black women predominantly date and marry and have sex with black men. So all these out of wedlock babies are being produced with black men. And I hear all black women and STDs and they all HIV and herpes and da. Black women, again, near exclusively, sleep with, have sex with, and produce children with black men. Then, so that's what they're also getting and sharing those STDs with. So when everything comes back to put the spotlight on this black male and his role in things, here comes like, the thing is, I can't figure out if she was maliciously trying to do it or was it subconscious. Because if it was malicious, yes, like, oh well, she know exactly who we talking about. She's not talking about Donald Trump. It's not insert some standard issue bearer white guy. We're talking about black men and black boys and the bad behavior that they perpetuate on black girls and even young black boys in the black community. And it's not just in the hood. We're in the suburbs. It's in the goddamn black churches too, by the way. So we know we're talking about that. So she probably is like, oh, let's move it over. But the thing is, since she didn't just deflect to something else, she turns to them and says, well, is it your opinion that black women are just, are bitter or bitter and angry? Well, consider what the woman just said about rape and molestation and those kind of effects that we know that it has on everyone across races, across genders, sexual violence and that kind of trauma for everyone, race and class aside, at a young age, that can be a very big life changer. My own family, luckily, I've never been raped. I've never been molested. And I'd have to maybe tell this story separately because it's way more to dive into. But in my own family, the black women in my family have all been molested and have all been, I don't know if anybody's been raped. I hope not, obviously, but definitely the molestation thing. And none of those men were white. They wasn't some Aryan crackers that came around molesting some of the black women in my family. So, but then she switched over so fast that like I don't think she meant it, but then when she heard, it's like she heard like a black woman kind of breach the surface on some of the pain and trauma that they feel, and the way other races of women typically get a soft place to fall, where they can even things that may be seen that are kind of silly. Black women, white women, Jewish women, Hispanic women, Asian, every other race of women gets some place to kind of softly lay her head and fall in regards to certain pains and certain traumas. But it's funny, Steve, I don't know what he's doing. He's just kind of spacing out. It's not like, obviously men are going to turn around and start crying like, oh my God, the way women typically do when something happens. But they're sitting here like, oh, well, because black men collectively don't care. If it's their daughter, they care, or maybe someone they directly relate to. But it's the whole thing that we've talked about as well as black women. We talk about a lot. The whole thing is like every black woman is supposed to see Trayvon Martin in her son, her father, every other black man in his face and feel some kind of way. But the black man does not reciprocate or feel that way about black women and girls. Like the R. Kelly thing, the whole story there for the years and years and years is indicative of that. But yeah, you see how she just kind of shifts like, well, are they just bitter and angry? It's like it's almost kind of tone deaf because I get, what the woman just said about the rape and molestation. Yes, that would cause, anger, resentment, and pain and bitterness. But for her to just turn over and say the way she phrased it, I'm still trying to work that out and just express what I'm trying to say because there was something so shocking about how she said that and how she shifted the conversation over. So, there's only a little bit left to this. I'll just let it play out.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
You can't say that. You can't say that.
What I'm saying in total, you can pick out as many different versions as you want. What I'm saying in total is I think we all just want partners. You know what I mean? And I, to be honest, I don't want a woman that's home waiting for me to get home from work because that means she's not out earning. So
Hold up. Now I remember I was gonna stop for this now. Did you catch that? I remember talking to black man, the pimp, the player. The way he said that it was I wanted her to be home because I want to know she been out there getting that money. He sounded like some kind of riggedy tackety, Motel 8 pimp. She better be out there on the stroll getting that money. Now it's so funny again. The black male don't know what the fuck he wants. So this is one narrative. Why can't we have more tradition and black women and fathers in the home and, be in the church and, black women listen to the men, letting the man be the head of the household. But then the other side was she needs to be out working, making money, Mary Tyler Moore in it with your ass and bringing home the bacon and bringing home 50% of the bacon alongside with you. I was thinking this in the car. I've thought for a while. How many black women married to black men are stay-at-home moms? You think about, it's changed obviously at an economic level across all races. Even whites. Like a friend of mine were talking about her neighbor, stay-at-home mom with 3 children under the age of 5, and house is probably easy, like maybe 250, maybe not half a million, like $300,000, and that's quite a mortgage. And to have 3 children and a wife at home, even to be doing well, they obviously are, there must be certain pressures, for him to perform. So even with whites, you see some of that decline due to economic and social changes. But how many black women? I was like, man, we all kind of shook our heads. Like, how many black women you think are actually stay-at-home moms that are married to black men that are able to produce and provide and protect for a family so she can stay at home? And that's another offshoot to that is how they just see us as workhorses. They want us to be these soft, feminine play creatures. And I want to come home and have you uplift me. But y'all both probably get home to the 2-car garage at the same time because she's out work. Either she's working because the white man wouldn't give you a job. We've established that before. So that's one side of this faulty fuck narrative. So you're probably already at home when she gets home because the white man would give you jobs so you weren't employed anyway. Or she's out working all day and you're working too. But then again, we're seeing with the inheritance of this black poverty, how black men are kind of being located as part of the problem. You either work maybe comparable jobs, but more often than not, you tend to make less money than she does, or comparatively speaking, in a lot of cases. So it's like, so we have to, as black women, we better be out there on that stroll making that money. White daddy gave you the job, you got to go out there and make it. And it's like, it's just so how blasé he said that. And it's indicative of the heart of like what part was wrong with black people. Like, we really just feel some kind of way about like black women and girls. Like, we just there to work. And that's like, we loved the white man and we loved to swirl, and we like being bed witches, or the white man give us this and all this snidiness. We was out there picking cotton next to you motherfuckers in the hot sun, getting the lash just like y'all. Go read Sojourner's Truth, Ain't I a Woman? And I've been rereading that over for the past year or so, and it's less about talking to like, it's talking to whites, but that's a speech I think more geared at black men and the black community in general. Somebody look at it, shall I bale as much hay as a man could take the lash just as well? We've always been working. We've always been out there. There's never been a time. You look at the history of black women, besides like, some like moments in popular culture where, we're kind of like, the Eartha Kitt kind of Diane Carroll, Diana Ross era of these kind of glam, pretty good looking black women. Otherwise, we're always working. We're always tending to babies. We uplifted your ass. Imagine a black woman being a stay-at-home mom where she can, like the whole Crystal Harrison thing. Kendall talk about this a lot, and that's part of the reason I think there's an extra visceral hatred of her. You can critique Crystal's platform or say what you want to say about her things, but one thing that when she said this, it really struck me. That's the reason why a lot of black people, men and women alike, really she gets under skin, because it's the being married to a white man thing first. And I don't know how this would play differently if she's married to a black man or if he's an Asian or Hispanic man, but she's a stay-at-home mom. And she's able to cultivate herself and pour into her children and to her home and be, at home. And that's a whole different level of existence. And it's definitely an existence that's rather foreign to black women, compared, for the most part too. So yeah, you hear that. And also, why is everyone else dressed up relatively nice? Because they're like on goddamn ABC. But this then dude is wearing some like goofy graphics t-shirt and some jeans. Maybe they just pulled his ass on stage for this. I don't know. But it's kind of pathetic that he's dressed like some goofy ass off the street, and everyone else here is pretty well dressed and put together, and he looks like a dumpy, sloppy Negro.
Hold on a second.
Look at that. Look at sister right there.
Because I want a partner. Now hold on.
They want you to submit. They want you to be traditional.
Let me finish.
We gotta be home and solve.
Her job, I want to have dinner ready. I want to be pulling off her shoes, and I want to rub her feet.
But you can't take the cornrows out of her hair.
Wait, hold on. So you want to be the house husband? See, this is what some black women said, and I can't expand on too much. Yeah, they just want to, in a way, they want to be the women of the race. And almost like, and again, this came up recently, that black women are kind of this race. We're men without dicks. We do the work. We pull the load. We're expected to have all responsibilities to the race. We need to work. The white man will give him a job. We go ask the white man to give him a job. We need to think like a man, like Steve Harvey and all his little pathetic books. Even Hill Harper's trying to read these books. So all responsibilities placed on what black women should do, can do, what we need to do. Just like that little comment from Chris. And it's forever what black women are supposed to be doing. But this black male, he said, I want to be there to rub her feet. That means you want to be a stay-at-home house husband. And in a way, especially compared to white and Asian men particularly, that's not how a first world Western society works. You go out and work and you find your way. You think people didn't want to hire some of the Hmongs in Vietnamese that started showing up here in the 70s and the 80s, that there was language barriers, cultural barriers that maybe made people wary of them. But within, they've been here mostly since the 70s and 80s. And yeah, most of them are still just kind of working class, middle class, and some way above that. But when we think of them, they figured it out within the first 30, 40 years of being here. But you have black men going back to the 60s, and hell, like the other nigga on my channel, World War I, people talking about, hundreds of years ago of certain circumstances, events. But other people have figured it out. Mexicans showing up here. This is not a defense of illegal immigration. This is not pro-DACA or anything like that. So do not mistake it for that. But then even these Mexicans, and this is the things black people understand. I think the problem now with Hispanics is, most people, they probably don't want them here, but I've heard it said in certain circles, especially more white racialist circles, that to be honest, they'd rather have a bunch of Mexicans in with them than deal with most black people. And this black male understanding, most people, he just come, he keep his head down, he go to work, he'll work in the back of some kitchen. They do a lot of jobs that, it's not the jobs that Americans won't do. Funnily enough, it's the jobs that black men won't do and that they decided they weren't going to do. So all these conspiracy theories about how the white man just wouldn't hire them is just ludicrous. And then they hire some beaner that don't even speak English to come do the damn job. Anyway, this is pretty much yeah. Okay, that was the end anyway. That was weird. I could just let it play out. So let me just make my closing points, because wow, it's been a while. That's funny. Like, think I could have been doing this all along. Just making comments, reading, talking to people online. Oh, 2 hours went by. I'm gonna go back and watch this. Oh, American First with Nick Fuentes. This is another channel that I'm really digging. He makes videos every day, real kind of like pro-Trump, pro-nationalist. He kind of has like some of the more alt-right tendencies, but he, like a lot of other people, kind of left that term behind. So definitely watch Nick Fuentes, watch Luke Ford. I've been watching a lot of them lately. They're pretty cool dudes. Two good guys. Well, except he's a convert to Orthodox Judaism, so he's a good guy, good chosen. He's Catholic, so whatever. So again, yeah, that was my response to the original video. Well, responding to Awesome Awareness with Chris's video. I had one other thing to say. I just thought in that video. At the end of that video, University Experiment, Eradicate Black Victimhood. Yeah, lastly, I have limited time. I have limited time too. Everyone has limited time. On zerohedge.com, the website has a tagline. I think it's from Fight Club. On a long enough timeline, the survival rate for everyone drops to 0. So yeah, it's weird. The second time he's kind of mentioned, well, I'm in my car. Well, I have limited time. Yeah, okay. Yeah, again, I think I said everything I need to say there. As far as this video, maybe going through this point by point would help in the future at some point. So, future plans. I wanted to read. Actually, I'm surprised I had not got around to this. This already came out about March 22nd. So this is just right at the end of the month. It's been crazy. So I think I should just finally go ahead and do a video and just read through this and kind of pull a few points out. Also, I'm scheduling to finally read in full Ralph Richard Banks' Marriage for White People, because I've heard it discussed amongst a lot of black women. There's a lot of really good stuff in there that I've heard a lot of different women talk about, and I think it will be very valuable to really read the whole book and have a discussion about it. Also, definitely at some point going to do Negroes Negroland, and I probably should start planning it, because it's about a 4-hour like book, and someone has it here on YouTube as audio, and I like to space it out and then just do that and kind of triangulate. I want to get some more alt-right videos. I think I was just kind of slowly waiting out all the recent movement issues and drama and this, that, and the third changes. And I think things have kind of gotten to a point of some sort of stasis that I'd feel comfortable kind of. Because I rather than Matt Heimbach, I think I was going to come and make a video, but then this whole Nealon Ricky Vaughn thing happened, and now I'm like, I'm glad I waited a little bit longer. And I think I'm done with the alt-right folly series. Yeah, because we did the interview, then we did the articles. Oh, there's that shitty Hotep Nation article that I still want to do a video on. Yeah. So those are some things to come. Tomorrow's Thursday. I'd like to say maybe tomorrow I'll just come back with this. So why don't you check back in, like, share, and subscribe. I'm just going to probably just do a quick run through this based on some of the subjects we talked about tonight and kind of maybe triangulate this and integrate this with the New York Times article we talked about previously. So thanks for if you stuck around, you stuck it out with me, another chat. I should have said before the beginning, go pour yourself a glass of wine before you sit down with these. You go vacuum. Like, I like to do errands. I listen to podcasts and run around and whatever. So thanks for sticking it out with me. I'm going to leave it here. It's literally at the stroke of midnight. So thank you. Like, share, and subscribe. I know I feel really lame saying it all the time, but that's what you have to say until you build things up. So, anywho, thank you. Leave your comments below, and I will catch you next time.